In the year 2147, humanity had grown used to looking at the stars. Space travel was common, and colonies floated in orbit around distant planets. Yet no human had ever received a message from beyond the known worlds. That all changed one quiet evening when the sensors of the United Earth Observatory picked up a signal unlike anything ever recorded. The signal was precise and rhythmic. It was not random noise from space. It carried patterns, sequences that repeated and changed as if it held meaning. Scientists all over the world hurried to analyze it. Laboratories that usually competed were now connected, sharing every piece of data. Governments watched nervously, wondering if it was a warning, an invitation, or simply a cosmic joke. Among those fascinated by the discovery was a young pilot named Rylan. He had trained in the orbital fleet for nearly a decade, learning to handle ships in both gravity and zero-gravity environments. He was calm under pressure and known for his sharp mind. When the call came for volunteers to trace the signal back to its source, Rylan was among the first to step forward. He understood that this mission would take him far from everything he knew. It might be dangerous, but he felt the same excitement that had driven humans to explore every corner of their solar system. The world watched as Rylan's ship, the Horizon, prepared for launch. News broadcasts described the mission as the first human journey to a signal from beyond the stars. Children stared at the sky, dreaming of the unknown worlds that might lie ahead. Scientists predicted coordinates, trying to map the path, while philosophers debated the meaning of a message from a place no human had ever visited. As the launch day approached, Rylan met with his small crew. Each member was chosen for skill, intelligence, and courage. There was Myra, the communications expert who could translate the most complex signals. Torin, the engineer, could fix or rebuild nearly anything under pressure. Lee, the navigator, was unmatched in charting courses through uncharted space. They shared a quiet determination. They knew that what awaited them was beyond imagination, yet they trusted each other completely. On the day of launch, the sky was clear. Families gathered at viewing platforms around the world, holding their breath. The Horizon's engines ignited, lifting it slowly at first, then faster, leaving Earth behind. Rylan sat in the cockpit, eyes on the view screen, watching the blue planet shrink into the distance. The signal grew stronger with every kilometer traveled. In orbit, the crew ran their final checks. The signal now pulsed through the ship's sensors, filling the cabin with a rhythm that felt almost alive. Myra studied it closely, noting changes and repetitions. Torin calibrated the ship's systems to respond automatically to anomalies. Lee charted the path forward, her fingers moving over the controls with steady precision. Rylan felt a mix of fear and excitement. Humanity was stepping into the unknown, and they were the first to do it. For weeks, the Horizon traveled through space. The stars moved past like diamonds on black velvet. The signal became clearer, almost as if it were guiding them. Yet with each day, strange phenomena appeared. Gravitational waves that had no source rippled past the ship. Energy bursts lit the distance. The crew realized that whatever created the signal was powerful and ancient. It was not something made lightly or carelessly. Despite the warnings of instruments and the mysterious energies surrounding them, Rylan's crew continued forward. Humans had a long history of curiosity and courage. They had explored oceans, mountains, and deserts. They had reached the moon and built cities among the stars. Now they were following a signal that had traveled untold light years, answering a call that was never meant for them. Rylan often thought about the aliens who might have sent the signal. Were they observing quietly, curious about humans, or did they see them as a minor annoyance? He did not know, but he felt the same resolve that had defined humanity for centuries. Humans did not give up when faced with the impossible. They adapted, they learned, and they fought to survive. As the Horizon moved deeper into space, the crew prepared for what might come. The signal had already changed the world. Humanity watched, waited, and hoped. They did not know the truth yet, the signal was never intended for humans. Yet the most remarkable thing about humans was their response. They were determined to understand, to explore, and to rise to the challenge no matter the cost. Rylan looked out at the infinite darkness. A single thought filled his mind. Whatever lay ahead, humans would meet it with courage, intelligence, and fury. The journey was only beginning, and humanity had already answered the first call. Back on Earth, the world had changed since the signal's discovery. Cities glowed with screens showing patterns of the strange message. Scientists, engineers, and linguists worked together day and night. They tried to understand the purpose behind the signal. Was it a warning, a guide, or a message from beings far older than humans? Each theory sparked debates, but no one could dismiss the possibility that the signal was alive in a way humans could not yet grasp. In a quiet lab in New Geneva, Myra's father, a skilled linguist, stared at the streams of symbols flowing on his screen. He had spent his life studying languages, codes, and patterns, but this was different. The signal changed unpredictably. Sometimes it repeated, sometimes it paused, as if testing humans' ability to understand. He noted every variation, every subtle shift in rhythm. The more he studied, the more he felt that the signal was not random. It had a mind behind it, even if that mind was not human. Meanwhile, Rylan's team was moving closer to the source. The ship traveled through regions of space that had never seen human ships. Cosmic dust shimmered like crystals, and strange bursts of light crossed their path. Sensors detected structures that defied known physics. The crew realized that their journey was not only long but dangerous. Every day, they faced the unknown. Yet human determination pushed them forward. They did not panic. They adapted. Myra spent hours analyzing the patterns as they arrived on the edge of a distant system. The sequences in the signal began to form shapes, and then structures. Maps, paths, and coordinates became visible in a way that humans could comprehend. Myra traced the lines on the screen and found what looked like a star system far from any human settlement. She called out to Rylan and the others. The crew studied the display with careful attention. Every calculation, every adjustment, showed the same destination. Lee, the navigator, charted the path based on the map hidden in the signal. She guided the ship toward coordinates that seemed impossible to reach. She worked in perfect harmony with Turin, who constantly adjusted the ship's systems to handle strange energy waves and gravitational distortions. Rylan watched his crew and felt a sense of pride. Humanity was not just surviving in space, it was learning to understand a universe that had always seemed larger and stranger than their own imagination. As the horizon approached the coordinates, the signal changed. Its rhythm quickened. Pulses of energy surrounded the ship, touching every instrument and every screen. It was as if the signal knew they were close. Myra's hands moved faster, translating the new patterns into a usable form. Turin recalibrated shields to protect against sudden bursts of energy. Even in the face of the unknown, humans worked together with precision. The closer they got, the more the crew realized that the signal was designed for something far beyond human intelligence. It carried instructions, information, and warnings intended for beings capable of traveling vast distances with understanding beyond human reach. But humans had found a way to interpret it. By using logic, intuition, and teamwork, they began to decode secrets that the signal's creators had never expected humans to understand. Rylan felt a mix of fear and excitement. Every discovery brought questions. What were these beings? Why had they sent the signal? And why had it reached humans if they were not the intended audience? He knew the answers might be dangerous. Yet he also knew that humans had a history of answering impossible calls. Humanity did not shrink from challenges. They met them with courage, skill, and intelligence. Back on Earth, the excitement grew. People watched news feeds showing the progress of the horizon. Children drew pictures of alien worlds. Scientists predicted that humans might soon make contact with something extraordinary. They did not know the truth. The signal was never meant for humans. Yet humanity had answered it. They had decoded parts of it that even the most advanced civilizations would have struggled to understand. The horizon continued its journey, guided by patterns that no human had ever seen before. Myra worked tirelessly to translate new information. Torin kept the ship running in unpredictable conditions. Lee guided them through regions where maps failed. And Rylan kept them focused, reminding the crew that their purpose was to discover, survive, and learn. For the first time in history, humans were walking a path that no other human had walked. They were not following instructions, they were creating new solutions, making choices, and proving that intelligence combined with determination could surpass expectations. The signal had tested them, and humans had passed. As they neared the final coordinates, the crew could sense that something awaited them. The patterns in the signal formed shapes that resembled structures, towers, and energy fields. Myra studied them carefully. She realized that the message was no longer just a signal. It was a doorway. And humanity was about to step through. Rylan stared at the screen and spoke quietly to himself. Whatever lay ahead, humans would face it. They would answer it with courage, ingenuity, and unyielding determination. The signal was never meant for them, yet they had responded with intelligence and persistence. Humanity was ready to meet the unknown. The horizon moved steadily through the void of deep space. Stars passed like distant candles, and the darkness stretched in every direction. Rylan watched the sensors carefully. Every measurement was crucial. The signal pulsed ahead, guiding them like a hidden hand through the unknown. It was no longer just a message. It had become a path, and they were following it. Strange phenomena appeared as they drew closer to the coordinates. Invisible waves of energy bent light around them. Gravity shifted in unpredictable ways. The ship's instruments sometimes flickered, showing readings that made no sense. Torin adjusted the ship's systems constantly, his fingers flying over controls as he compensated for forces no human had encountered before. Every adjustment kept them alive. Lee studied the anomalies and charted new trajectories. She realized that the path was not straight. The signal wove around dangers that could destroy a human ship. Every twist and turn of the route required skill and attention. The crew worked as one. Myra translated the signal as it changed, Torin adapted the ship, Lee navigated through shifting space, and Rylan coordinated their actions. Humanity's persistence was showing itself in every decision they made. As they approached the edge of the map system, the signal grew stronger. The pulse became almost tangible, like an invisible wind brushing against the ship. The horizon's shields vibrated under the energy waves, and the crew could feel the subtle hum throughout the vessel. Myra's eyes widened as she noticed a pattern. The signal was reacting to them. It changed when they altered course or speed. Humans had become part of the message without realizing it. Rylan considered the meaning. Whoever had sent the signal had never intended humans to reach this far. They had assumed the message would be ignored or misunderstood. Yet here were humans, following instructions that were never meant for them, proving that curiosity, courage, and intelligence could reach beyond expectations. He felt pride and determination. Humanity did not retreat in the face of danger. Suddenly, a bright flash filled the cabin. An energy wave from the signal surged toward the ship. Alarms sounded, and lights flickered. Torin yelled as he worked to stabilize the shields. Myra held onto her console, trying to predict the next changes in the pattern. Lee adjusted the course rapidly, keeping them on the path. Rylan shouted orders calmly, his voice steady even as the ship shook. Every crew member relied on each other. Every human instinct mattered. When the surge passed, the crew caught their breath. The signal returned to its normal rhythm, almost as if nothing had happened. Yet they knew that the journey had become more dangerous. The forces ahead were alive with power. They were approaching something far older and stronger than humans had ever encountered. Yet humans did not hesitate. They pressed forward with determination that outshone fear. Days passed as the horizon continued. The stars and planets seemed empty, but the signal guided them through invisible fields of energy and gravity. Every night, Rylan watched the crew work tirelessly. Myra studied the signal, uncovering patterns that allowed them to predict dangers. Torin repaired systems under unusual pressure. Lee navigated around invisible threats that could destroy them in moments. Humanity's ingenuity was tested at every turn. One morning, the crew saw something impossible. A massive structure appeared on their sensors, orbiting a dim star. Towers of unknown material reached far into space. Energy fields surrounded the structure, glowing in colors humans had no names for. The signal pulsed from this place, stronger than ever, almost alive. Rylan felt a shiver of awe. They had reached the source. The signal was no longer distant. It was here, waiting. Myra studied the structure with growing excitement. She realized it was more than a signal tower. It was a complex machine, designed to interact with beings far more advanced than humans. The shapes and flows of energy suggested intelligence and purpose. Humanity had reached a place they were never meant to reach, and now the true test would begin. Rylan gathered the crew in the cockpit. He spoke calmly, but his voice carried resolve. We are here. This is the point where curiosity becomes action. The signal was never meant for us, but we have followed it. Now we face what it is guarding. We must work together. We must remain focused. Humanity's strength is our mind, our courage, and our determination. We will not fail. As the horizon approached the structure, the crew felt both fear and excitement. They knew that the next moments would reveal the intentions of beings who had long expected ignorance, not persistence. Humans had crossed the threshold into the unknown. Whatever waited for them beyond the energy fields, humans were ready to meet it head-on. The signal had led them here, and humanity's response was not hesitation. It was resolve, intelligence, and unwavering courage. The horizon glided into the glowing fields. The energy wrapped around the ship, testing shields, instruments, and nerves. Yet the crew continued. Myra decoded, Torin adjusted, Lee guided, and Rylan led. The unknown stretched ahead, vast and powerful, but humans pressed forward. The signal had never been meant for them, yet humans had answered its call. And what they would face next would define their place in the universe. The horizon glided closer to the massive structure. Its towers reached into the darkness, glowing with energy that shimmered like liquid light. The crew stared in awe. The signal pulsed stronger than ever, surrounding the ship as if it were alive. Every instrument on board vibrated with unseen forces. Humans had never encountered technology like this, and yet they pressed forward. Rylan studied the readings carefully. Keep your focus. We do not know what we are about to face. Every move matters. His voice was calm, steadying the crew. Myra monitored the signal, noting changes that suggested the structure was reacting to their presence. It was as if the machine itself was aware of them. Suddenly, shadows moved within the glowing towers. Machines, unlike any human design, emerged from the structure. They floated silently at first, then advanced with deliberate speed. The sensors identified them as drones, but their shapes were impossible to describe. They were both solid and fluid, energy and metal combined. They had been waiting, guarding the structure against intruders. And humans were intruders. The first wave of guardians approached. The horizon's shields flared as energy pulses hit the hull. Torin worked furiously, adjusting power and reinforcing barriers. Sparks flew across panels, and the ship shook with each strike. Myra decoded new signals from the Guardians, attempting to understand their pattern. She realized that they operated with strict logic but responded unpredictably to changes, which humans could exploit. Lee maneuvered the ship with precision. Twisting, turning, and accelerating, she guided the Horizon through the assault. The Guardians adapted quickly, predicting some moves, but humans were creative. Every adjustment, every decision, was unique. Humans were not predictable like the beings for whom the signal had been designed. Rylan realized this was humanity's advantage. The Guardians struck again, but the crew was ready. Rylan issued commands quickly. Torin redirected energy to the shields in precise bursts. Myra relayed sequences that allowed the ship to anticipate the drone's attacks. Lee found openings in the patterns and steered through them. Humanity's skill and coordination surprised even the ancient machines. The Horizon passed through a field of Guardian drones. The ship's lights reflected off their surfaces, revealing intricate patterns of energy that flowed like liquid circuits. Myra studied the energy and noticed a repeating rhythm. She called out to Rylan. "I think I understand. They are following a protocol, but there is a rhythm we can use. We can move with it rather than against it?" Rylan nodded. "Do it. Humanity has always adapted. Now is the time." Following Myra's guidance, the crew synchronized their movements with the Guardian's rhythm. Every pulse, every strike, became predictable. Torin adjusted the ship's shields in time with the energy pulses. Lee guided the Horizon through openings that had seemed impossible moments before. The Guardians responded, but humans were faster to adapt, using logic, creativity, and courage together. The ship entered the heart of the structure. Towers loomed above, and energy flowed through invisible channels. The signal became overwhelming, filling the cabin with a constant vibration. Myra translated patterns as they appeared. The Guardians now moved in unison, their attacks more intense. Yet humans continued to adapt. They learned from every strike, every movement, and every pulse. Rylan felt a sense of awe and determination. Humans had reached a place that no human was meant to reach. The structure was older than humanity, more advanced than any civilization humans had encountered. And yet, they were here. They were meeting a challenge designed for beings far beyond them. And humanity was not backing down. The crew pressed onward, deeper into the structure. The Guardians continued their assault, but the humans' persistence never wavered. Every member of the crew worked in perfect harmony. Myra predicted attacks, Torin adjusted systems, Lee navigated with skill, and Rylan led with courage. Humans were proving that intelligence combined with determination could meet challenges no one had expected them to face. Finally, the Horizon reached a chamber at the center of the structure. The Guardians stopped at the threshold, forming a barrier of energy and light. The signal pulsed steadily, almost like it was observing them. The crew understood that they had crossed a threshold into the unknown, confronting beings who had long assumed humans would never arrive. Rylan looked at the Guardians. "We are not here to destroy. We are here to learn. Humanity will face any challenge with courage and intelligence. We will not back down." The Guardians shifted slightly, their energy flowing like water. Humans had not only survived the first confrontation but had shown the structure that they were different. They were unpredictable, determined, and intelligent. The signal had brought them here. Now humans were proving that they belonged in a universe far larger and stranger than they had ever imagined. As the Horizon hovered in the chamber, the crew prepared for the next stage. The Guardians were still, but the energy in the room suggested that this was only the beginning. Humanity had survived the first challenge, and their ingenuity, courage, and unity would be tested even further. Rylan knew that the universe was watching. Humans had answered a signal not meant for them. And their response had shown that humanity's true strength lay in its mind, its creativity, and its unyielding courage. The journey into the unknown had only begun. The Horizon hovered at the center of the alien structure. The chamber around them glowed with energy that shifted like liquid, flowing through towers and pillars. The Guardians remained in place, a wall of motionless energy. Yet the crew knew this calm was only temporary. The machines were observing, learning, and waiting for humans to make their next move. Rylan gathered the crew. We have reached the heart of the structure. The Guardians are watching. Every decision we make now must be precise. But we have an advantage. Humans are unpredictable. We adapt. We learn. We act. His words brought focus to the team. They had faced dangers before, but this challenge was unlike any other. Myra studied the patterns in the Guardians' energy fields. She realized that the machines followed a strict logic, but there were small gaps between their movements. Every pulse of energy, every shift in position, carried a rhythm. If the crew could synchronize with these rhythms, they could navigate safely through the defenses. I see it, she said. There is a sequence we can use. It is like a dance. If we move with it, not against it, we can advance. Torin adjusted the ship's systems to respond instantly to changes in the Guardian's energy fields. Every shield, every thruster, every sensor would react in perfect timing. The horizon became more than a ship. It became an extension of the crew's understanding, their intelligence, and their ingenuity. Lee plotted a path through the gaps Myra identified. She moved the ship slowly at first, testing the rhythm, then gradually increased speed. The Guardians reacted to their presence, but each human adaptation was faster than the machines could predict. The horizon moved with precision, guided by human skill and creativity rather than brute force. Rylan watched the screens, issuing commands when needed, but mostly observing. Humanity's greatest strength was not strength itself, but the combination of intelligence, courage, and adaptability. He knew that no machine, no matter how advanced, could anticipate every choice humans could make. Their creativity and determination were the true weapons. As the horizon advanced, the Guardians launched sudden energy strikes. Torin redirected power to shields, Myra calculated patterns for evasive movement, and Lee adjusted course in real time. Every member of the crew acted with confidence. The Guardians were powerful, but humans were clever. They turned attacks into opportunities, learning from every pulse and every shift in energy. Myra discovered that small pulses from the Guardians could be mirrored to create openings. She instructed Torin to release controlled energy bursts in precise moments. The plan worked. The Guardians responded, but the humans stayed one step ahead. The horizon advanced deeper into the structure, moving as a single unit guided by the combination of instinct, intelligence, and creativity. Rylan smiled at their progress. Humans had always solved problems in unexpected ways. They had crossed oceans, explored mountains, and reached the stars. Now, in a place far older and more advanced than Earth, they were proving that ingenuity could overcome even the most precise systems. Every adjustment they made, every calculation they performed, was a testament to human ability. The Guardians intensified their attacks, but the crew remained calm. They adapted faster, thinking ahead, predicting sequences that the machines could not. The horizon moved like a living being, responding instantly to the environment and the Guardians' actions. Humans were no longer just surviving. They were mastering the challenge. Finally, the ship reached a central core of the structure. Energy flowed around a massive orb, pulsing with light and information. Myra realized that this was the heart of the signal. The Guardians had protected it for countless generations, expecting intruders to fail. Yet here were humans, not by chance, but by determination, intelligence, and ingenuity. Rylan looked at the orb and spoke to the crew. We have reached the heart. The Guardians are strong, but humans are stronger when we work together. We have adapted, we have learned, and we have overcome. Now we must understand the signal and what it asks of us. The crew prepared to study the orb. Myra analyzed its patterns, Torin ensured the ship's systems could handle its energy, and Lee charted a safe approach path. Rylan coordinated every move, aware that one mistake could trigger the Guardian's full power. Humanity had reached a point where courage and intelligence were more important than weapons. The horizon moved closer. The energy orb pulsed in response, as if recognizing the presence of beings capable of learning, adapting, and thinking independently. The Guardians remained near but no longer attacked. Humans had proven that they were unpredictable, clever, and capable of understanding challenges meant for others. Rylan took a deep breath. This is the moment humans show what we are. We face the unknown with skill, intelligence, and courage. We will not fail. In the quiet hum of the chamber, the horizon prepared for the next step. Humanity had demonstrated its ingenuity, turning danger into opportunity. They had adapted to a challenge far beyond their expectation and had survived. The signal was no longer just a message. It had become a test, and humans were proving they could meet it. The journey was far from over, but humanity's determination, creativity, and unity had already made its mark. The horizon was ready to uncover the secrets of the structure, and the crew was ready to answer the next challenge. Humans were proving that they were not only survivors but explorers capable of overcoming the impossible. The horizon floated in the central chamber of the alien structure. The glowing energy orb pulsed steadily, filling the room with a strange rhythm. The Guardians had retreated slightly but remained nearby, their presence undeniable. Rylan and his crew knew this calm was temporary. The beings that created the signal were powerful and patient. Humans had survived the first test, but the real challenge was only beginning. Rylan gathered the crew. They are observing. We have proven we can adapt. Now we must show them our resolve. Humanity does not falter. We face every challenge, no matter how impossible, with courage and intelligence. His voice carried determination. The crew nodded, understanding the stakes. They were not just exploring. They were proving that humans could rise to a test never meant for them. The signal pulsed more rapidly. Energy waves surged across the chamber, stronger than before. The Guardians moved in unison, surrounding the ship. Their attacks were precise, yet humans had learned to anticipate patterns. Torin adjusted the shields quickly, redirecting energy at exact moments to protect the ship. Myra analyzed the pulses, predicting the next strike. Lee guided the ship, moving with speed and accuracy. Every action required coordination, intelligence, and calm focus. Suddenly, the Guardians unleashed a wave of energy that swept across the chamber. The horizon shuddered under the force. Systems flashed warnings, and panels sparked. Rylan shouted commands, directing Torin to reinforce the shields and Myra to calculate a new sequence for evasion. Lee adjusted the ship's course with precision, threading the horizon through openings in the Guardians' attack. Humans were fast, unpredictable, and daring. The Guardians had not expected this level of adaptability. Rylan realized that the Guardians were testing their limits. They expected humans to retreat or fail. Yet here they were, pressing forward with intelligence, courage, and unity. Every pulse of energy, every maneuver, every calculation proved that humans could rise to challenges no one imagined they could face. Humanity's fury was not blind anger. It was sharp, focused determination. The Guardians intensified their assault. Pulses of energy formed barriers, traps, and waves designed to overwhelm the crew. But humans adapted instantly. Torin modified shields to absorb multiple strikes at once. Myra translated the signal in real time, identifying weaknesses in the patterns. Lee maneuvered through spaces that seemed impossible to navigate. And Rylan led calmly, giving orders with precision and confidence. Every strike against them became an opportunity to learn and respond. Hours passed as the Guardians continued their tests. The crew's determination never wavered. The horizon moved through the chamber like a living being, guided by human ingenuity and unity. The Guardians were powerful, but they could not anticipate every human choice. Every unpredictable decision, every new strategy, made humans stronger in the eyes of the machines. Rylan realized that humans were not just surviving. They were sending a message. The signal was never meant for humans, yet humans had answered it with intelligence and courage. The Guardians began to recognize that humans were different. They did not act like other beings that the structure was designed to interact with. Humans were clever, persistent, and capable of extraordinary adaptation. In a sudden moment, the Guardians formed a massive energy wall, blocking the ship's path. The crew paused. Rylan studied the formation. It was an impressive display of power. Yet humans were not afraid. He turned to his team. We have faced the impossible before. This is no different. Trust your skills, trust your instincts, and trust each other. Humanity will not be stopped. Following Rylan's words, Myra calculated a precise pattern in the Guardian's rhythm. Torin synchronized the shields to exploit small gaps. Lee guided the horizon through the openings, moving faster than anyone expected. The Guardians responded, but humans continued to adapt. Every move was deliberate, every decision calculated. Humanity's fury was focused and intelligent. As the ship moved deeper into the chamber, the energy orb pulsed brighter. The Guardians' attacks became faster, more complex, but the crew met them with strategy, creativity, and courage. Rylan realized that they were no longer just participants in the test. They were redefining it. Humans were showing that intelligence, determination, and bravery could meet any challenge, even those beyond expectation. Finally, the horizon reached a point where the Guardians could no longer prevent their advance. The energy orb's pulse slowed, almost acknowledging the humans' persistence. Rylan looked at his crew. We have shown them what humanity is. We have answered a challenge no one expected us to meet. We have survived because we adapt, because we are clever, and because we do not give up. The chamber fell quiet. The Guardians remained near, but their attacks ceased. Humans had proven themselves. The signal, once meant for others, had been answered by beings who were fearless, intelligent, and determined. Rylan knew that this was a turning point. Humanity had faced fury, matched it, and survived. The next stage of the journey would bring new discoveries, but the crew had shown that humans were not to be underestimated. Rylan turned to Myra, Torin, and League. This is only the beginning. We have survived their test, and we have proven what humans can do. We will continue, and we will meet the next challenge with the same courage and intelligence. Humanity will not fail. The horizon hovered in the chamber, surrounded by energy and Guardians. The crew had faced fury, adapted, and overcome. They had shown the universe that humans were clever, determined, and capable of extraordinary resolve. The journey was far from over, but humanity's strength had already been proven. The horizon hovered in the central chamber, bathed in the bright glow of the energy orb. The Guardians had stopped their attacks. Their presence was still powerful, but calm now. Rylan and his crew had survived the trials, adapted to every challenge, and proven themselves capable of facing what the structure had been designed to test. Rylan looked at the orb. We have come far. We have met every challenge and shown what humans can do. Now it is time to understand. Myra focused on the energy patterns flowing from the orb. She noticed a change in rhythm, subtle yet unmistakable. The orb was communicating, not with words, but with pulses of energy. By following the sequence, Myra began translating its message. She realized it contained knowledge far beyond human understanding, advanced navigation techniques, energy manipulation methods, and insights into the structure of the universe. Torin adjusted the ship's systems to safely interact with the orb's energy. Every movement of the ship had to be precise. Even small mistakes could trigger defenses. But the crew had learned from every previous encounter. They moved as one, combining skill, intelligence, and courage. Humans were no longer reacting. They were taking control of the situation. Lee guided the horizon toward the orb, following the instructions Myra interpreted. The energy fields adjusted as they moved, forming safe pathways through the room. The Guardians observed silently. They had expected intruders to fail, but humans had succeeded. They were clever, adaptable, and determined. They had learned and evolved during the challenge. Rylan felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had answered a call that was never meant for them. They had faced fury, adapted to unknown technology, and survived. The Guardians now recognized that humans were not like other beings. They were unpredictable, courageous, and intelligent in ways that machines could not anticipate. The orb pulsed brighter as the horizon reached its center. Myra carefully decoded the final sequences, revealing instructions that allowed the crew to unlock a portion of the structure's systems. Light flowed through the towers and pillars, forming patterns that had never been seen before. The Guardians shifted slightly, acknowledging the human success. They were silent, yet their energy suggested approval. Rylan addressed his crew. "This is what humans do. We explore. We learn. We adapt. We face the impossible and rise to the challenge. The universe has recognized our courage, and now we are gaining knowledge that will change humanity forever." The crew spent hours interacting with the orb, learning everything they could. The knowledge was vast, but humans were quick to understand and implement it. They adapted the alien techniques to their own systems. Torin integrated new energy methods into the ship. Lee charted courses through regions of space that had previously seemed unreachable. Myra studied patterns that could help humans understand signals across the galaxy. Every discovery strengthened their confidence and humanity's place in the cosmos. As the hours passed, the Guardians began to move aside, forming a clear path. The structure had accepted humans as capable beings. Rylan understood that this respect was hard-earned. Humans had survived every test, adapted to every challenge, and shown courage that could not be measured by force alone. Rylan spoke quietly to his crew. "We have earned their respect. The signal was never meant for us, but we answered it. Humanity has proven that intelligence, courage, and determination can overcome even the most advanced systems. We have made a mark here that will not be forgotten." The horizon prepared to leave the structure. The Guardians observed silently, their energy flowing in patterns that mirrored the humans' movements. It was a final acknowledgement: humans were different. Humans were worthy of exploration, understanding, and respect. As the ship departed, Rylan looked back at the glowing towers. He knew that humans had changed. They had faced something that had never been intended for them and survived. They had adapted, learned, and proved that humanity's strength lay in intelligence, creativity, and courage. Back on Earth, the news of the mission's success spread quickly. People celebrated not only the courage of the crew but the spirit of humanity itself. The horizon returned with knowledge that would advance technology, energy, and understanding across the world. Humans had answered a cosmic challenge with ingenuity and determination. Rylan watched the stars from the ship's observation deck. The universe seemed larger than ever before. The signal had been a challenge meant for others, yet humans had risen to meet it. And now, humans had a new place among the stars. He turned to his crew. "We answered a call not meant for us. We met the impossible with intelligence, courage, and unity. Humanity has shown the universe what we are capable of. This is only the beginning." The crew smiled, knowing they had achieved something extraordinary. They had survived the trials, earned the respect of ancient guardians, and brought knowledge and hope to humanity. The signal had never been for humans, yet humans had answered it with unwavering determination. And in the silent void of space, a new chapter began for humanity. A chapter of courage, ingenuity, and respect. Humans had proven that they could rise to any challenge, and the universe had taken note. The horizon continued its journey, carrying not just a crew but the spirit of all humanity into the unknown.